Good morning. It's May 30th, I guess, and it's been a few days since I did one of these. I was away in Toronto. I thought about doing a walk in Toronto, but I never quite found the time or the inclination. I mean, I did a lot of walking, but I didn't do any live streaming. Lots of people that do live streaming in Toronto. I know there's some guy there that does it in 4K, so it seems kind of redundant for me. It's not like I'd have a lot to say about whatever I was, so whatever I was seeing. But here I am back again, and it's a Monday, so that means it's along the creek. We were there for an Engineers Canada event, and my wife is involved with Engineers Canada, so we are at the peak of trees in flower though here. Cherry blossoms over there. I won't venture to say what these are. I think they're mountain ash, but they're pretty. In fact, if the trees being what they are, I think I'll go down this way to instead of going straight ahead up under the dyke. We'll go to the right first. It's kind of cloudy today, but there's no rain in the forecast. The heck? I saw a message there that made me think I wasn't streaming, but it looks like I am, so I guess I won't worry about it. And I got so much work to do on writing and publishing work. It's getting a little alarming how much stuff I've lined up for myself. Oh well, still got a big editing job. Once I get it out of the way, it'll be the last freelance editing job I take on for the foreseeable future. So that'll make me feel a little less time pressured. It'll be done this week, that job. And then everything switches 100% to my writing and Shadowpaw Press work. So if we go down Robinson here, there should be a beautiful tree in bloom at the end of the street here. It appears it is there, and it is in bloom, so that's good. It's cool though, it's only about 12 degrees and no really warm weather in the forecast. It doesn't get above 20 for the next couple of weeks as we get into June. So no real hot weather, that's for sure, in the forecast yet. Will come. It has been kind of a cool spring. I mean, of course we had, well, just last week I was walking in the week before last I was walking in a snow flurry, so I always like this tree this time of year. It stands all by itself in this little roundabout down here at the end of Robinson, up against the dyke. And it's a flowering tree, so it's quite a lovely feature down here. See it at the end of the street there. Dead end ahead. Very ominous. Not that ominous. Oh, there's a cherry one over there too. Cherry blossoms as well. Or lilacs. Probably a cherry tree, that. Not sure the lilacs are out yet. At least the little ones and the ones in front of our house aren't out. Yeah, that's a cherry tree, I think. Right there. All nice and pink. And this tree. Isn't that lovely? They don't last long. Now we'll go up on the dyke. I think I'll reverse my flow today and walk along the dyke on this side. So I haven't done that for a while. Maybe turn back around here and get another look at the tree. There we go. Very pretty. Everything is pretty much leafed out now. I still have a little ways to go. It's getting there. Morning. So I will be going across the bridge, just not right this minute. I'm going to stay on this side of the dyke today to begin. A lot of birdsong too. One of the non-Engineers Canada things we did in Toronto was go to hear TOEFL music, which is a very famous Canadian orchestra that plays on period instruments. And they did 4 of the Brandenburg concertos by Bach, and orchestral suite of his. Quite lovely. It was in the Telus Performing Arts Center, I think that's what it's called, which is basically the main performing space for the Conservatory of Music. Hadn't been in there before, I'd just seen the outside. It was bigger than I thought from the footprint on Bloor Street, and lovely performance space, all wood, great acoustics. If you're in Toronto and have a chance to go to a concert there, I highly recommend it. And a good view of the CN Tower from their balcony with the trees along what's called Philosophers Walk. It's a very strong smelling flowering tree there. I can't transmit smell unfortunately. Lovely view of the CN Tower. Some trees have been carefully kept trimmed back so you keep that view. Philosophers Walk is this really nice tree-lined pathway through the heart of University, at least a portion of the heart of the university. Here comes dogs. There's always dogs. I don't know why I find it kind of annoying that there are always dogs. They're just dogs. It always feels special if I walk and I don't see any dogs. I don't know if it's happened yet or not. He's got dogs and I think a child on his shoulders as well. Two dogs. I would have said hello, but he didn't seem the smiley greeting type for some reason. He didn't look like he was particularly enjoying walking the dogs. Perhaps he was just thinking of other things. I don't smile while I'm walking either. My resting face can be quite grim. There's a video from a few years ago. We were out in BC, and we went, one and only time I've been ziplining. And of course my daughter loved it. She was a teenager then. fairly young teenager, I think. And that was, there's video of me ziplining into the platform, and I look grim. Boy, do I look grim. And that was kind of my impression of the whole thing. It's like, well, I've tried ziplining. I never have to do that again. That's just a function of age, I think. I would have loved it as a kid, probably. I mean, I went skydiving at one point. Just once. It wasn't a tandem jump either. It was jump out by yourself. It was a static line, so the chute was opened automatically. Landed safely where I was supposed to, but it was more fraught than I expected in some ways. Still, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience jumping out of an airplane. Most people never do it, so I can say I've done it. And I even set out to do it twice. I went to Moose Jaw, where the Southern Saskatchewan Skydiving Club is based. I thought I'd do it again because I had my first jump certificate. I thought I'd get in a second jump. But while I was waiting, it was kind of windy that day. It was too windy for novice jumpers. And while I was waiting, an experienced jumper landed and broke her arm on landing. And I thought, you know, I need my arms and my legs. I need all my limbs, all my bones intact, preferably. And I kind of lost interest right at that point, so I never did it again. You know, because I had, for a while, I had these ideas what I'd do enough jumps to be able to do free fall. And, you know, had to do a certain number of static jumps, I think, before you could do it. But I never got that far. And don't really regret it. But it was certainly worth doing once. And made an impression. I'll never forget that feeling of impending death. Another dog. Morning. There's the Elphinstone Bridge. There's a video of it. It was taken from under the wing of the airplane. You see me get out. So you step out, you'd hold on to this strut, and then they'd say go. And it did take a certain amount of willpower to let go of the strut, which I did. And if you watch, I go head over heels. Like the wind catches me and I go back and my feet come up. So I start down. Down I went and safely landed. That was 30 years ago. I haven't done it since. I'm not about to start again at age 62. Okay, we will get across Elphinstone here. Kind of reversing the usual path I take. Decide if I can jaywalk or I have to keep going up to the crosswalk. Depends on the traffic. Coming that way at the moment. He's turning. He's a pain. Guess I will go up to the crosswalk. Isn't. He's parked down there, so I will jaywalk here just to get across without stopping anybody. And I was going to take this path, so I guess I'll reverse a little bit. Oh, looks like I missed the Brushworks Art Guild art show and sale. Which would have been over this last weekend. Not that I would have come anyway, but takes us by some of the public art here on the grounds of the Neil Balkwill Civic Arts Centre. That's a seniors activity building over there. These two pieces line up, so as you get to there, you see them lined up properly. Smells like fresh mown grass, and indeed there are mowers over there. There's an art gallery in here, and you can take art classes with the Neil Balkwill. There's some art on these billboards out here too. More art. Again, the senior center there. Art Gallery of Regina is what they call it. The gallery here. Grass might be kind of wet because there was a shower earlier, so maybe I won't walk on the grass today. Giant beaver over there. See him in a minute. Come around the trees. There he is. Probably has weathered a bit over the years, but he's still standing. I'm still standing. Some mowing going on. On a skateboard or skates? It's like a skateboard. Probably headed to Sheldon Williams High School. It's all blossoming out as well. Well, that looks like a lilac bush, I think. Is some of those lilacs? Oh, maybe not. Quite look like lilacs. Ours are often slow coming out. I don't know why. Well, there's a huge one in the back that's like 3 stories. We're about to have a lot of work done back there, so I hope everything survives. There's one bush we really want to keep, but they may not be able to keep it and do the work they need to do back there to get equipment in. So we're certainly hoping they can. Gardens will be starting to come out. They won't be at their full glory until probably about August, when they seem to be at about the best. And then, of course, they freeze in September. That's the end of them. There's a robin. Yeah, well, I'll probably just turn around. Even an extra 15 minutes here. For today, anyway. Hopefully I'm out every day this week. That's the plan. I don't have a car, though, so it'll all be walks close to home. Or starting from home, probably. I can get, of course, downtown, which I've done many times from home, and can go interesting places without a vehicle. Some more lovely flowering trees. A bush on the corner there. Smell it. One of those smelly ones I talked about earlier. It's not exactly almost a spicy scent. Nobody is following, but nobody said hello. If you're there, say hello. If you want. You don't have to. I still walk, whether there's anybody there or not. Big one over there, big flowering one. Oh, right. This is garbage. I didn't take out the garbage last night. I wonder if I can still do that. Isn't that much garbage because we were gone, so if it waits another week, it's not the end of the world. I suspect they will have been gone by the time I get home. Alright, we will go here down Pasqua. That, of course, is Saskatchewan Express, old school across from us, now used by the Performing Arts Company Saskatchewan Express and School. I would presume that they will have a touring group again this summer. They haven't for a while, not in the usual way that they do it, but I would assume they are. They usually do, like it's a summer job for the people that, usually young people. They tour all over the province doing shows. Been a while since I've seen this Sask Express show. I did audition for them when I first got to Regina. I was already kind of old, pushing 30, and dance experience, and that's what did me in. I couldn't move well. Still can't move well on stage, unfortunately. With enough practice, I can kind of get there, but it's hard work. Unlike my daughter, who had danced from the age of 3. But it's like learning anything else. You learn, like the dancers take dance all those years. They learn how to make their body do those things. and it becomes second nature. And then the choreographer can build a dance, just with a series of instructions, often telling them which particular move to do. It builds up like, this beat, this beat, this beat. They still have to practice it, obviously, but you can't do that if you're literally learning each move for the first time when the choreographer tells you what it is, which is where I'm at whenever I do this. Except maybe a box step. Anybody can do a box step. There's the bridge, Pasqua Street Bridge. Here's the creek now. Now it's a walk along the creek. I guess it was when I was on the dyke. So given enough time, I can be fine in stage choreography up to a point, the kind of stuff they give to the non-dancers, but I would never be able to. So definitely not a triple threat, as they call it in musical theater. Well, except I have some ability to play an instrument, but not at a level that anybody would use it on stage, so even that doesn't really count. I can sing really well, and I can act quite well, but I cannot dance. I don't dance, just don't ask me. I can't dance. So anytime I do an audition where there's a dance component, I know I'm in trouble. Which means I should do more straight theater and less musical theater, I guess, but I really love to sing, so. Oh well, I haven't actually done a show now for years. I've sung, but I haven't been in, in concerts and things, but I haven't been in a show per se since Christmas Carol in Moose Jaw, I think, and that must be 5 years ago by now. Maybe 6. Coming up on 6. Got to play both Santa Claus and Scrooge in that show, so that was fun. Because it was the Christmas Carol was framed, it was a radio version of it. So it was framed by this story where radio station Moose Jaw in the 50s had this tradition, supposedly, of doing a radio version of A Christmas Carol over Christmas with big name actors they would bring in, but there's a blizzard and the cast can't get there, and so the program ends up being done just by people who happen to find themselves in the radio station because their car broke down or whatever. So my wife and I in the show have just come from playing Santa and Mrs. Claus, and even though I've been playing Santa Claus, I don't have any Christmas spirit. Bah humbug. And I end up doing Scrooge in the play within the play. The great thing about it was, because it was framed as a radio play, it was a book in hand, so I didn't have to actually memorize the lines. Not the same as you do in a normal play. A dog. You still have them pretty solid, but at least you have that crutch in your hand, and it fit perfectly into the storyline. And then, of course, in the process of playing Scrooge, my character rekindles his Christmas spirit. So I got to enter the theater from the back as Santa Claus, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, and just, distributing treats to the audience and all of that. That's always interesting to be in the audience at a show, because the reactions are funny. Some people are right into it, and others find it uncomfortable to suddenly be part of the show in that way. And of course there was some singing, some carols. It was a nice show. I really enjoyed doing it, and got some nice comments on my Scrooge. Great role. No matter how it's done, Scrooge is a really great role. But that's the last actual, not just professional show, but actual show I think I've done. And it's been, like I said, 5 or 6 years now. Of course, COVID killed everything for a couple of years. I've auditioned, but I haven't had anything since then. But maybe as I move further into my 60s, I'm playing different sorts of roles now than I used to play. I never really played the leading man. I was usually the character actor, so I played all sorts of fun parts like that. The only time I was the leading man might have been in The Fantastics. If you consider El Gallo the leading man, he's not really though. He's more like the storyteller. Yeah, the two fathers, the old actor, the mute, and the two children. And then El Gallo, who kind of drives the plot. So he was a fun role. And Tony Esposito, he's kind of the leading man, I guess. At least he does get the girl in the end, which, if you define that as the leading man. And I also did Fiddler on the Roof. I played Tevye. He's certainly the lead role, but he's not really quite what you'd call the leading man in the way that people, because it's not a romance of any sort, except I suppose rekindling his, or reaffirming his love of his wife, but it's much more about times changing, and it's more about his relationship with his daughters than with his wife, even though she is an important part of it. Morning. But he was, of course, that's one of the great roles in musical theater, so I loved playing him. I've only ever grown a beard twice in my life, and both times it was for a production of Fiddler on the Roof. The first time I was in it, I just had a smaller part, Avram, the bookseller, and chorus. And then the second time I played Tevye, and that was in 2000, so it's been 20 years since I had a beard. I could play Tevye still, if the opportunity presented itself. He's of indeterminate age, and he has grown children, almost grown children, so I'm actually probably older than the character would be, but it would still work. I could still play Tony Esposito for that matter, if the audience was willing to accept the large age gap. Funny, of course, I played Tony Esposito, who is the name of the character in The Most Happy Fella. It's also, of course, the name of a famous hockey player. And while we were in Toronto, we visited the hockey museum in the Hockey Hall of Fame, of which I'm sure Tony Esposito was a member. Had our pictures taken with the Stanley Cup and all that. So I told somebody, yeah, I played Tony Esposito once, just he wasn't a hockey player. Hockey and I just never fallen in love with it, because I think it's because we moved up here from Texas when I was 8 years old, and I was too far behind all my friends when it came to falling in the hockey mindset. I couldn't skate when I arrived, and I never really learned very well. It was always painful for me. First of all, those old skates at the time didn't offer much ankle support, which I needed, but also I have congenitally flat feet, and skates were particularly uncomfortable on those feet. So I never really enjoyed skating all that much. Did it a few times for fun, and I can get around the rink, and stop. I can even skate backwards very slowly and carefully. At least I was the last time I could the last time I was on skates, which must be 15 years now. But playing hockey is never going to be a thing. So I never really got interested. Football was different. Living in Saskatchewan, home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, whose first exhibition game is Tuesday night against Winnipeg. Regina Horseshoe Club, if you'd like to join, there's the website. horseshoesask.ca. New members welcome. I bet they are. Wouldn't imagine they get a huge influx of them. There's something I could certainly join. Bet you they'd be happy to have me. I played it once or twice. Coming from the south, lots of people play horseshoes down there. He should have had a bell on his bicycle because I could easily have turned around and walloped him because I was turning to look the other way. But as I said before, cyclists don't seem to think about that when they zip by a pedestrian. They just see you as an obstacle to get around. But you're a mobile obstacle that can suddenly change direction. So you should have a sound like that. Or at least a bell. Look at the baseball diamonds. Could go down into the grass, but I've done that the last couple of times, so maybe I'll stay on the pathway this time. I imagine they're using the fields now. That one looks a little damp at the moment, but I would imagine that Victoria Day weekend having gone by, that softball, slow pitch, Little League, all that stuff is starting to happen. Also, it must be because the field has been lined and it's all set to go. Advertising in the outfield in this one, which is probably the bigger one with more seating capacity, and also the clubhouse and snack bar and all that stuff is along here. And there's a batting cage there for batting practice. Even a press booth. I guess it is. Scorekeeper's booth anyway. When is Waterfall Park coming up? Is the waterfall running? That's the next question. Here comes another dog. Or are they going the other way? Maybe I'm catching them. There's a batting cage down there. And you've got your clubhouse and the snack bar and stuff over there. If the waterfall's running, I'll go down and take a look. It hasn't been running on my previous jaunts in this direction. A sudden surprise of flowers. If it's not running, I don't quite know why it's not running yet, unless there's some sort of plumbing issue. Well, there's some water falling over there, so, or is there? No, I haven't really gotten a good look through the trees. There's a little bit. I think it's normally more waterfallish than that, but we'll go down and take a look. It is, of course, an entirely artificial waterfall. Water is recycled, I assume. I don't know if they pump it from the creek, let it flow over here, then run back into the creek, or if it's entirely circulated within the park. It's an interesting question, but I don't have an answer. There's this nice little footbridge, so you get a nice little sort of scenic shot there. The water runs through this little creek, and I presume it only makes sense that it goes back into the creek, and they pumped it out of the creek to send it over here in the first place. So there's the waterfall. We could use a little more water, I think, but at least it's running. They say, do not enter non-potable water, which is a pretty good sign it comes straight from the creek. We wouldn't want to drink that. And speaking of the creek, there she blows again, literally on a windy day. We will cross the footbridge this time once we get up there. Dogs everywhere. Don't these people have jobs? How can they all be out walking their dogs in the middle of the morning? Shouldn't they be at work? I mean, I don't know why I don't go to work, but they can't all be freelance writers. Big fuzzy black dog. Didn't get a smile from him. All the vegetation's growing on the banks. Reeds are probably starting to grow. There's still the old ones, dead ones over there, but there must be new ones coming up. Cattails. The water's rippled, which actually makes it more interesting to look at, I think. All right, time for the traditional look at the creek from this bridge. First, we look to the west. And then we look to the east. I'll go one more here. There we go. The ripples make it look like the water's flowing away from me, but it's actually flowing toward me. Those are just waves. They don't have anything to do with which way the water is moving. Not that it moves very fast right now. Once spring melt is over, it's a very sluggish flow. And we'll go along the dike in this direction. Again, so a slight repeat here till we get to the first stairs, but we're going to carry on past that to the next set of stairs, which takes me on to Retallic, which takes me to my house. And my computer, upon which many things to do await me. They cut these bushes down quite short last year before, and they're already considerably taller. they get too tall, I think they like to cut them down for safety reasons, because otherwise there's no real view of this dyke from anywhere. I presume that's why they do it. They got a ways to go yet before they'll be cutting them down again, I think. Here's that beautiful tree again. Worth coming this way again just to point it out in its lonely splendor on the little traffic island there, with the little yellow fire hydrant adding a touch of color. My gimbal seems to be a little jerky every now and then. I still don't know what's doing that. Oh, and here comes another dog. 2 dogs. Oh, I know. I haven't done this for a while. Let's go down the alley here. Instead of taking the stairs, we'll take this deadly, dangerous path. Oh, made it. Well, those are definitely lilacs. So some lilacs are out. Very dark purple ones, those. Billy Joel songs running through my head today. Don't know why. It started with an Elton John song, but then it had somewhere that switched to Billy Joel songs. But I kind of know why. Alice has this playlist for driving, for road trips, and it's all music from my era, which is interesting. But there's Billy Joel and Elton John, whom she likes his music in part because of the movie Rocket Man, which she really liked. And, you know, a little bit of ABBA. Fleetwood Mac. It's honestly a playlist I could have listened to in the 80s when some of the songs were fresh. 70s, some of them they were fresh. But that's the interesting thing about the streaming world, is that nothing ever goes away. So the songs from, heck, the 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s, you can listen to anything. It's pretty much, at least anything of note, anything that made it some sort of name for itself or came from somebody famous, is readily available, and a lot of really obscure stuff is available too. It's true of books as well, with ebooks. In particular, things may be out of print, but you're quite likely to be able to find an ebook version of it. Which, in a way, I suppose is a nuisance for some creators, because they're not only competing against their current peers, in a way they're competing against everybody who has ever come before. For the increasingly fragmented attention span of an audience. On the other hand, populations, of course, keep growing, so there's always more people to discover all this stuff. So that's a benefit, I guess. I don't know. All I know is, as an author and publisher, discoverability is your big challenge, and I'm not very good at it. I've got a lot of stories out there that aren't really picked up very often. I'll sell a copy now and then. They're available, but they're not being bought. So I guess my closing thoughts as we approach the stop sign is go to edwardwillett.com, 2 T's on Willet. Check out my books. If you find the one you like, buy it. Or just go to Amazon and put in Edward Willett. You'll find pretty much everything I ever wrote available there, or your other favorite online bookstore. Thank you for your support. Also, if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and tell your friends. If I could ever get to 1,000 subscribers, and I've only got another 600 or so to go, I might actually make money off of this, but not holding my breath. Hard to walk when you do that. That's it for today. Thanks for walking with me. Bye for now.